Hey up. So I've been working on this comic based off of Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time. Going to be posting it here on YouTube. And as I was finishing off this last panel, I thought to myself that it'd be a good time to show off some of my process because right here where we've got these three women, these Aes Sedai, sat on the ground, this sort of over-the-shoulder, bird's-eye view angle. I was really struggling with getting the positions, and I thought it'd be quite fun to sort of show off my process, sort of how I go about placing characters, in certain positions from certain angles. It's obviously trial and error with a lot of these things, so there's going to be a lot of going back and forth, but I hope you find it interesting. Thanks for watching. So right here I start off with a basic circle which I'll use as the initial model for the head. I'm going in now with some basic lines, just trying to work out the position of the head. Once I find that, I'll carry on with the rest of the body, just adding in very rough details to give me an idea of how this person's going to look. I know that I want her to be looking away from the character who's sort of standing over them. I've now slightly adjusted the size because she is slightly further away. I don't want her to look massive, or now I'm just adding in these sort of basic model, where the kind of things that are going to help me when I later go into actually render this character out. I've now moved down onto the legs. Legs are always tough, especially in like these sort of weird angles, because you don't want them to look stumpy. You want them to look natural, but you've got to at the same time consider that from this sort of higher up angle, you're going to encounter some problems if you make them too long. They're going to look ridiculous. I'm just slightly adjusting them at the moment because I felt like they would be more tucked in, instead of sort of just being like flat out. I wanted a bit more of a dynamic shape. Nothing too crazy, but the general sort of idea is to never have anything be too boring. You always want an interesting position, even when it's a simple one. Now I'm going in with a heavier sort of brush tool, applying the lines that are going to, stay on the character after, I've fully rendered. I like to work with a smooth black line, something that's not going to be too glaringly noticeable once the color's been added, but I do tend to work better when line work is kept throughout. As you can see, I'm just running through the basic form of the body now, making a few adjustments here and there to the initial model that I laid out. Another thing is when you're drawing women with when you're drawing women at this sort of angle, you've always got to be very careful, because the natural instinct is to have these sort of hunched over shoulders, and the slightest misstep can make it look like you're trying to draw a bodybuilder instead of, a slender young woman. Now moving down onto the feet, I'm not really worrying too much about the toes, because I know that she's gonna be in boots by the end of this, but it's always a good idea to add the toes in, because you don't want to find that you've got to the point where you're now wanting to draw the toes and you've got no idea where you're going. For her hand, I wanted to actually be doing something. I had initially considered for her to be healing herself with this wound on her arm. But given the context of the surrounding story, these Aes Sedai are captured, and within the context of the story, Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time, Aes Sedai are, like witches, and they can they can use magic. There's this magic system, but within the context of this particular situation, with them being held captive, I didn't want her to be using magic because she wouldn't be allowed to. So I sort of tweaked the little finger here to make it almost look like she's impatiently sort of tapping on her arm, just waiting for this to be over. I'm just going in and adding some little details here, like fingernails and some creases. Again, I've got this basic sort of frame that I'm now adding these clothes onto, so I'm not worrying too much about the areas of skin that are going to be eventually clothed. It's always important to, even with simplistic clothing, to add little details that, really make them stand out. Slight rips, the sort of the perfection of imperfection, if that would be the way to describe it. You just, little things that tell the story. This woman has just, been in a very hectic battle. No one's coming out of it the other side looking, their Sunday best. So I'm now working on the sort of the long dress that is sort of going to be draped over the top of her legs. And it's always a challenge doing long flowing dresses, especially in more dynamic positions than just being sort of stood up. You want to convey that this is a very sort of long flowing dress, but at the same time, you don't want it to look too ridiculously billowy. Right here, you can see that I've just had to go back and redo it again because I've realised that with the way her legs are positioned, the creases are going to be coming upwards from the inside of her knees, so that's something you had to change there. You're always coming across issues with your own work that you're having to, go back and fix. So right now I'm just removing that sort of basic human form that I'd drawn in to help myself. Obviously removing the areas that are now hidden by clothing. Just adding in the little details is always what's most important, because like I say, the clothing is never perfect, even on these characters that are supposed to be so regal. Now I'm, again with adding in these details, I've decided that I wanted this character to have a sort of brooch necklace, and instead of trying to draw that on, I wanted to go into another page and really focus on making something that looks nice. I like to blow it up really big, get these sort of nice shapes in there, and I'll then of course shrink it down and add it to it. It's always important when you're doing something like this as well to go against your sort of natural instinct to do. Even though this is supposed to be an elegant piece of jewelry, you have to go with the big clunky lines, because when it gets shrunk down, you're just going to end up with a black splodge. You're not going to be able to tell what it is. So you have to go for the chunky line so that when it is, once it is shrunk down, it's still readable as something. You're always going to lose something there when you shrink an image down, but the trick is to try and minimize that. So now I've cut with a pretty decent shape that is going to look good once it's been shrunk down. There you can see you do lose some of it, but it's about minimizing how much you lose. I'm now using a special brush tool for the chain, just to bring in this necklace, and I'm now moving on to her hair. Here I've realised that I've got her brow way too high for, the angle of her head, so I'm having to go back in and redo that. Like I say, you're always finding problems with your own work, and it's completely fine to go back and, change something. I think that's one of the main sort of attractions for digital illustration, is that, you can always hit undo, or you can at least erase something without fear of trashing your page. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way the hair looks. Now I'm just sort of getting rid of those areas that are sort of caught there. And now just adding the little sort of tweaking, finishing touches. The other two characters have their shawls draped over their shoulders. I don't really want this one to have the shawl draped over her shoulders. I want her to, I want her to stand out. It's important to have every character stand out who's in focus, because they're in focus for a reason, because you want them to be noticed. Now you can see I'm just going back over those feet with some boots, and I've made the shoe slightly smaller than the feet because because of the angle and the foreshortening. I just wanted them to be a bit smaller. Right, so that has been my process video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, would you consider liking and subscribing? I'd really appreciate it. It'd help us out a lot. Right, in a bit.